And today we have a very special guest who it's like a guest, but the guest lives with us. So it's kind of a weird guest situation, but because she's on our team, she's part of our Geeky Clinician family. And so we'll be talking to Mona Taki, who is the newest postmaster's resident here at 3D Psychotherapy. But before we give her a chance to introduce herself, I'm going to have the Geeky Clinicians introduce themselves. And as always, I'm Dr. Deborah Dantzler, Chief Geek here at Geeky Clinicians.
I'm Jacinta, Lead Geek.
And I'm Sandra. I am also a Postmaster Geek Clinician. I'm excited. This is my partner in crime.
Welcome, Mona. Mona has a Master's of Science in Clinical Mental Health and is also a registered yoga teacher and brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to her role as a postmaster's resident. And so I'm going to turn it over to you to introduce yourself, and then we'll just, have a conversation, ask you some questions, and get to know you better.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for the warm welcome. As Dr. D stated, my name is Mona. So my master's is in clinical rehabilitation counseling. And then, yes, I am also a yoga instructor. I have been practicing yoga for over 10 years, but I've been doing it professionally for about 7 years. So I do have a good hefty background in that area, and I'm a little new to the mental health space, but it's been a great journey. I graduated in May of 2024 of this year, and it's just been a great journey so far. So I'm looking forward to just being in this program and seeing how I grow.
Awesome. Well, welcome. So for those listeners and viewers who don't know, here at 3D Psychotherapy, we have a program called the Postmasters Resident Program. And so this is specifically designed for new or recent graduates with their masters in clinical area, clinical rehab, clinical mental health, counseling, and who are wanting to pursue full licensure. And so being a part of the program, there's a commitment to participating in the program for that full extent from day one to full licensure. And the program offers all of the things that one would need on that journey, clinical supervision, administrative supervision, direct client contact hours, also other professional development projects. There's opportunities to present at conferences and trainings. There are other to chair committees within the Geeky Clinician world. And hopefully one day we'll actually get to having that retreat. But these sorts of things are all part of the Postmaster's residency program. And so that is kind of an overview of the program. And so Mona, let me ask you this. So one, how did you hear about the PMRP? And tell us from awareness to today, how that journey has been for you.
Yeah. So I was in my internship. My internship was about to end, and I was talking to my supervisor about all of the things that I needed to get to full licensure. And I'm just like, how am I supposed to do this? And I was looking up like how to get the hours, but people were charging all of this money to pay for the hours that I needed to become fully licensed. So I'm like, there's no way that I'm going to be able to pay for this. This is like another degree with all of these hours that I need. So I'm like, what do I do? So my supervisor gave me some other like jobs and things that I could have like applied to, and she was helping me. She was helping me to the best of her ability. But then I just was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go on Indeed and just see what's out there and just see what's out there. And so I'm just searching. And then I saw this. And I can't remember what the title was, but I saw it and I was like, I don't this this sounds too good to be true. That's like the first thought that came to my mind. I'm like, this sounds too good to be true. And so I ran it by my supervisor, who was my supervisor at the time. And she's talking to me. She's like, oh yeah, like I've heard about 3D psychotherapy and things like that. She was like, I think the owner of the practice, I think me and her we're both in the same Facebook group, and she was saying all these things. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, so because at first I don't know, I was just like, I don't know, this sounds too good to be true. So long story short, I end up applying, and I'm like, okay, I'm banking on this because I really need this to do what I want to do. So I get all of my materials and things. I also have a little anxiety sometimes. So I ended up like calling. I remember I called and I was like, hey, just checking in on that application that I sent in. I don't even know how long it was. I have no clue. But I know I gave you all a call. And then from there, it just kind of just built up to the point of course, getting the interview. Interview went well. I thought it went well. I mean, obviously it went well. I'm here today. So the interview was great. The vibe was really good when I walked into the practice. Just even the purple walls and then the ocean wave. It was just like, okay. I was like, this is my vibe. So that was great. And then, yeah. And so today, just working on building my clientele and getting more into the geeky stuff too. You know, I do eventually want to present at conferences and things like that because research is something that I'm still very much passionate about, although I've been away from it for a while.
Okay, wonderful. I'm so glad that you looked on Indeed and were able to find us, and that I think it was Kismet. We were meant to be. So excellent. Awesome. And so, Jacinta, Sandra, questions for Mona?
Not a question yet, but comment. We liked you right away.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Yeah, we did. We liked you right away.
Yay. When Sandra gave me that hug, I was like, ah.
And you know what? I was thinking too much, Sandra. Too much. We don't need
Right.
to hug yet.
Don't scare her away.
Right, right. Hold on. No, it was great. I was like, oh, they're so nice.
So Mona, let me ask you this. So, um, what was your journey to becoming a geeky clinician? And when I say that, I mean, what's your therapy origin story, right? In episode 1 of this podcast, the three of us shared from like how we got interested in the field to, you know, the choices and decisions and actions we took to becoming fully, full geeky clinicians. So what was your origin story as it relates to becoming a clinician?
Yeah, that's such a good question. I actually made a post on social media today because yesterday was World Mental Health Day.
Yes.
Mhm.
I was reflecting on my why as to like what I'm doing, right? And it really made me reflect. And with that question is very much in alignment with the post that I made today. And I would like to say this field found me. I did not really seek it. I originally wanted to be a dentist.
Hmm. Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I wanted to be like, I mean, it's close to the brain, right? But
Yeah.
like, I wanted to be a dentist. That was my path. I got my bachelor's of science at Savannah State University in biology. I was doing biomedical research. I was like, I'm going to
Oh,
dental school.
wow.
This is what I'm doing. But I want to say the initial the initial start, I would say, was when I was 17. I started having some mental health challenges that I was dealing with. It was that. And then leading up to about maybe like early 20s, I told you I was doing biomedical research. And so I was a part of this program at Savannah State that paid for my tuition and also gave me a stipend to do research.
Nice.
So I was doing that, and every summer I had to go and do research somewhere. And so I went to UCLA one summer, applied to this research program, and it was a neuroscience research program.
Love it.
That, I think that was like the bridge. It was like from 17 to like early 20s, like the mental health challenges that I was going like that was going on inside or in my brain and all of the emotions and things that was coming up. And then early 20s, I do this neuroscience research, still in the mindset of, I'm going to be a dentist though. Like, I'm still going to be a dentist. But I was so intrigued with neuroscience and the brain and things like that. And I studied language disability, but we did it on zebra finches, and we like studied their songs and what they sang. I won't get too deep into the research, but it was very great. I presented the research. I actually won first place at a conference with that research. So it was definitely something that I was passionate about and I really enjoyed. So I think that summer was like the subconscious seed more planted in my brain, where it's like, okay, I tried to do the dental school thing, just didn't work out. I was like, okay, maybe this isn't for me. Let me just figure this out. Through that time, that like after I went through like kind of a depressive episode, honestly, with just saying like, okay, I have to accept that like dentistry is probably not what I'm supposed to be doing. I was like, okay, I'm just going to get my yoga teacher training. And so that was 2017 is when I graduated from my yoga teacher training, my 200-hour yoga teacher training certification. And during that time, I'm like, yoga and therapy. Like, that's what came to me. I was like, my community needs this. My community needs both of these things combined.
Mm-hmm.
And then from that day forward, I started looking into programs, still was kind of not sure how to do it. And then I got my first master's in positive psychology.
Excellent.
So yeah, so I realized after I got that, I was like, I don't want to be like a positive psychology coach. Like, I don't want to do that. I want to be legit. Like, not saying coaches aren't legit. Okay, any coaches out there, I'm not saying that. But I wanted to be more accessible, I'll say. Because I feel like with the coaching is good. A lot of times people have to pay out of pocket. And I wanted to be more accessible for individuals who have insurance and to be able to help them in that way. And so I was like, dang, what do I do now? I have this positive psychology degree. I'm a yoga instructor, but I want to do the clinical piece of it. I didn't have that verbiage then, though. I didn't have the verbiage of clinician then, but
Right.
my mind was just like, I wanted, like, and no offense to anybody, but in my mind, I was like, I want to be more legit. Like, I want to be more legit. And so from that, I started looking into programs, and then I found the program at Mercer. Originally, clinical mental health is what I was going to do. I applied, got accepted, went to orientation, and then I saw someone on the panel, and they were like talking about rehabilitation counseling. One of the students was on the panel at orientation, and then after that day, I switched from clinical mental health to clinical rehabilitation. Yeah.
Okay.
What
Yeah.
is clinical rehabilitation?
Yeah, good question. So when I initially saw it, I thought it was like all about addiction. And I was like, I do not want to do addiction. But it's more so focused on disability. So we learn a lot about the laws as it pertains to SSI, things like that for individuals who have acquired disabilities and or if they were like born with those disabilities. So it's very much disability based. And when the student was explaining it, the way she was explaining it made me think like, oh, that's holistic, because she was also explaining it in a way of like not just looking at what the person is diagnosed with, or like looking at the whole person of how they got to this point. And so that is what initially drew me in. Yeah, so that, to answer your question, Jacinta, it's very much disability based. So we learn a lot of different things. A lot of individuals who get this degree, they go on to be a CRC. That's a whole nother certification outside of the LPC that, you know, all of us usually get. So, yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you for sharing that journey with us.
Mhm.
And I like that you had this awareness that this is what my community needs, right? Like my community needs healing, and what are ways that I could be a vessel to bring healing to my community? And with yoga and therapy, that was the path that you found yourself on and are on.
Yeah.
So excellent, excellent.
Mhm. Yeah.
Questions for Mona?
Zebra finch.
Yeah.
Is that a bird or a mammal?
It's a bird.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. Zebra finches. Yeah, that was a point in my life. I'm like, wow, I can't believe I actually did that. At one point, they even had people outside of our building because we were doing research on animals and we obviously had to kill them to do the research. So at one point, one day, I'm on my way to the lab and there's like people outside of the lab with signs like, don't
Oh no.
harming animals. I'm like, oh gosh. But yeah, it was an interesting part of my journey for sure.
Okay. So clearly, a holistic approach is a high value for you. How do you see blending your uh, yoga teacher knowledge and skills with your clinical practice? What do you see as some uh, potential challenges there and some potential benefits there?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll start with the challenges. I want to say the challenges, potential challenges, and what I'm seeing too, and what I know is just the research behind just different somatic techniques and things. We just need more research. That's it. We just need more research behind it. It's there, but we don't have an extensive amount of research. So that is the challenge now, and you know, also in the future could continue to be a potential challenge due to just the research side of things, how to actually collect this data. Like, does this really work, right? Yeah, and then moving forward to you said benefits, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The benefits. So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much what I do is like what I practice. So it's like a real embodiment of it. And so I could speak from even personal experience, right, of the benefits of it as well. But then even speaking from just the research side, the benefits of like yoga is not just getting on a yoga mat and like doing poses, right? That's not just yoga. Yoga is like very, very, very vast in the practices of just yogic philosophy and yogic practices in general. And the benefits of that, I would say bottom line is like not CBT, but mindfulness, but it's a part of like CBT, right? The mindfulness aspects can really help us with our mental health and our emotional health, right? As it pertains to learning certain skills that brings this mindfulness to us in the moment when we may be having an anxiety ramp up, right? So the benefits of it, I see it being, I see it also being a thing where more clinicians are wanting to bring more somatic practices into their sessions and becoming a holistic therapist, which I'm like, oh, this is great that more clinicians are seeing how this is something that clients can really benefit from, whether that is sound therapy, whether that is practicing breathing exercises right before you just start the session if you know a client has anxiety, right? Visualization techniques to kind of guide them through the session if that's in their treatment plan. So it's a new thing though. I would say maybe within the past five years. I don't know. You tell me, Dr. D. Like, when did you, I know I'm kind of flipping it on you now, but when did you see kind of, because there is a shift happening within like the field. I'm noticing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that, well, so my background is in addiction. And so there's always been kind of this blending. Actually, when I was in jail, when I worked for New York State Department of Corrections, one of the things that we did was we brought in a yoga teacher weekly to lead group with the inmates. And so we had always been kind of combining this as a benefit for the person served. And I think in the field in general, where it shifted from these kind of two separate houses of yoga being this Eastern practice that's separate as a non-clinical entity, I think there were some clinicians and they kind of took a lot of those yogic philosophies and made them clinical. And I think a big pivot point was in Bessel van der Kolk's seminal work, The Body Keeps the Score.
Yes.
I think that's a huge shift in the field. I think that Stephen Porges' polyvagal theory also is another huge shift that we've experienced towards more somatic work. And then things like Deb Dana's even deeper dive into polyvagal and somatic work. And so there's even whole complete somatic training certifications that I would probably hedge a bet that as a 500-hour professional yoga teacher, if you took any of those somatic courses, you were like, yeah, that's what we already do.
Okay.
Just guess. I don't know. But so that's where I would have noticed that the field really, because again, we as clinicians, they really promote evidence-based, right? And so I think that what Bessel and Stephen Porges and Deb Dana and those clinicians in their research really tried to do is they're really trying to have have created the foundation of the evidence base to what the yogis already knew, the monks already knew, the celestials already knew, from the Ayurvedas already knew from a gazillion, years, So I'm going to get off my soapbox and.
Yeah. What stood out to me the most that you just stated is taking the yogic tradition, the yogic philosophy and making it clinical. That right there literally is for sure that whole shift within it, because I even see it in the curriculum with when I do group therapy. So we have a specific clinical curriculum that we go by with the for the program. And of course I do integrative groups, and I do DBT and things too, but it's really like clinical, but also very much yogic. So I'm like, this is the perfect time for me to come in the field, because I don't think I would have fit 10 years ago.
Yeah. So Mona, let me ask you this. I know you're new to the field, you're new to the program, and the truth is, this question will evolve over time, as we all have evolved as clinicians. It has evolved over time. But what for you right now? What is your ideal client to work with, right? What is your ideal client? And I'm gonna ask the question to both Jacinta and Sandra, give them a chance to answer first, giving you a chance to kind of think about that. What does that look like for you, the ideal client? So Jacinta, what is your ideal client to work with?
I like working with a client who, first of all, they can pay. So they're either out of pocket or they have insurance. Um, and next, I want to work with a client that is ready to do the work. So when they come in, we are not going round and round, repeating the same cycle over and over again. I give them a challenge, and they actually think about the challenge, and they do what it is the challenge is asking. And if they don't, they know why they did not do it, so that we can then move on from there.
Okay. All
That's
right.
basically it. I just want somebody that wants to do the work.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sandra, do you have an idea of, at this moment in time, who your ideal client is?
Um, just to piggyback on what Jacinta said, somebody that wants to do the work, somebody that is, they know it's going to be scary. Um, they come in with a realistic view of what that healing process is going to look like for them, and they're willing to be a part of a team that's going to help them grow and learn and move forward. Um, and just knowing that we're imperfect, even though we're perfectionists at times, so that we throw out there, but we are imperfect and we're human. And the one of the hardest lessons that for me is to give myself grace, and exploring with them that opportunity of allowing them to have grace with themselves. So just someone that's going to be realistic with their movement in life and their journey for healing. Because a lot of times we expect the therapist to do all the work, the counselor to do all the work, and we don't want to do it.
We shouldn't
Mhm.
be doing it.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
And can I just check back? Because
yeah.
the things that I said made it sound like I'm not expecting for a client to come in and they want to do the work, but sometimes it is scary,
Yeah.
and sometimes they may feel like, you know what, I came here and I really am trying, but I don't want to move forward from here, but if they're able to express that, and they are willing to let me sit with them in that and figure out a way around the fear, then we can still get the work done.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
and you did not insinuate that at all. It's like,
That's the way I felt after I said
oh no, no, you didn't. It because I truly agree with what you said. It's a process. It truly is a
it.
process.
Absolutely.
And knowing how much we really want to reveal to others about ourselves. Um, and really to our own selves.
Yeah, it's scary to come into
Yeah,
therapy,
absolutely.
especially when you're dealing with big T.
Yes. Yes.
Nobody wants to bring that up, and nobody wants to If I have a client in the room with me and they are going through big T, um, I kind of want to know where to tread
Yeah.
because I don't want to touch that
Yeah.
before it's time.
Yeah.
You know, if you touch it too soon, you could be re-traumatizing.
Yeah.
So I don't want to touch it before they're ready.
And one thing that you and Dr. D has always stressed is asking permission.
Hmm. And
How
taking your
how
time.
yep, how much can how much and how far can we go right now? And if they say, right, okay, this is I'm uncomfortable and we need to stop, then letting them know it's okay for us to stop right here.
Hmm.
We don't we don't have to just pan it out. We have time. There's time for all of this, but
Yeah,
we just
Yeah.
don't want you to quit.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if you take the client too fast, they'll run away.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, in terms of ideal client, our niche at 3D Psychotherapy is insecure overachievers. And what I say is we are our niche and our niche is us. But coming to that space, that ideal client, was a journey from watching the friends and family members of somebody who was in the storm of addiction and seeing that person who has historically been the family savior, the family fixer, the superhero. They're the ones that put the family on their back and kind of you know just kind of have to do and fix and carry the world on their shoulders, and they're just exhausted. They're beyond exhausted. They are down that cul-de-sac in those houses of bitterness, frustration, and resentment, and they just but they keep going because they don't know how to not keep going. And so by the time they come to us, to our front door, the work, the privilege of being able to help them be able to maybe take that off, right? And really put that down. And not that they will, and this is a slow process of growth to be able to put that down and have the privilege of prioritizing themselves, to be able to pour back into their own tank, to recognize that it is not wrong or shameful or bad to take care of themselves and be able to set and maintain healthy boundaries with people that they love and care about, that doesn't make them a mean or bad person. And so that uh, is, I guess, my ideal client.
Mhm.
So you've heard ours. And so tell us a little bit about what your thoughts on for where you are, because again, it is an evolving process,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Like this insecure overachiever, since I came on the team, I've been this like diving into that a little bit more, and wanting to educate people more on what that actually is. And since I know how to identify that now in some way, of course, I can still learn more. I would say my ideal client is an insecure overachiever, but also an individual this insecure overachiever who identifies as a creative. So their career is in music. Their career may be certain art that they do, whatever it is, but they're an insecure overachiever in that space of things. Um, More specifically, a lot of my passion is music artists and music industry professionals. And there's a lot of insecure overachievers in
Mhm.
that space, where it gets to the point to where these individuals could win Grammys and be nominated and have all these things and still not feel fulfilled. And so, yeah, I would just expound on what you said, Dr. D, and just kind of put it in that box of creatives, music industry professionals, and music artists. And they also have struggles with anxiety, depression, suicidal ideations, and addiction.
Yeah.
So all of those things.
Anxiety, depression, all of it.
Mhm.
Yes, yes. Excellent, excellent. Tell us, Mona, what a potential new client could expect if they chose to work with you. What would that look like?
Like what a session would look like? I
Yeah,
don't.
what would it look like to work with you? Not, a session or overall, like, you said these are your ideal clients. They're insecure overachievers, but they're musicians, artists, they're creatives. And we know all of the challenges that come with being in that industry because, one, even just the idea of auditioning and then rejection, oh my God, hats off to you, right? Like, that is so not my area. But so this is the clients you want to work with and that you want to serve. So what could they expect? Again, because we know when clients come to the door, a lot of times, like Jacinta and Sandra said, they could be ambivalent, right? There's a lot of fear with coming in the therapy door. How would, what could they expect?
Yeah. Working with me, clients could definitely expect a sense of non-judgment when they walk into the room, into the door, regardless of what may be going on or how they're feeling. I would say non-judgment will be the number one thing. Whatever we talk about, there is like this layer of no judgment here, non-judgmental, you know, none of that, no judgment at all. So that, and then also, um, a sense of being able to just dump and feel lighter after you leave the session or after you know have any type of one-on-one interaction with me. And I will also even add to that, having a team member, a person that's on your team, I would say, not just a therapist who is just like, okay, I'm just here to get the money type of thing, right? A therapist who truly cares about your well-being, as a holistic therapist, really, really caring about that aspect, and being a teammate to see, okay, how can we strategize about this? Let's look at it in this way, giving different perspectives and insight. So I would say in a nutshell, that's what it will be, working with me.
Okay. All right. And this kind of piggybacks on what the first question was, but this is for everybody, right? So the first question, before I ask that question, this question is based on what are the core values for 3D psychotherapy?
Oh, I know disruption is one, right?
Mhm.
Love, curiosity, growth,
Love, curiosity, destruction.
learning,
Yes.
and
So
disruption.
love, learning, growth, curiosity, and disruption, right? So, and even in our clinical notes, our documentation, it asks which of these showed up in this session today, right? And so you have to check one as you recognize during this interaction with this client, which core values were present, right? So the question is sort of similar to what would it look like working with you, but of our core values in working with your clients in general, what so far has been the core value that just is like that feels the best, that you've had the opportunity to utilize the most, that is like I don't want to say your favorite because that's really like not really what I mean, but like we kind of find ourselves like leaning into, right? And so, and this question's for everybody. So let's go this way, like Jacinta, Sandra, then Mona.
For me, honestly, love is the easiest. I kind of lean into I'm a loving person. When I was growing up, my best friend used to call me Teddy Bear. That's just, I feel like everybody needs love. And when a client comes into the room, if you can greet that client with love, if they feel like there is that kind of caring in the room, they are more likely to open up. You're uh, better able to build a rapport, and it's easier to do the work.
Mhm.
You can make a safe space, and it actually, even though the work that we do can be so stressful, a lot of times it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah. So it's love for me.
excellent, excellent. Um, I'm a little biased because I think I would say all of them, but I can't. So, in one way, I think curiosity is probably the one that I lean into most, simply because I'm super nosy. But I think that's my kind of go-to. Like, I want to know everything, right? And I think some of my hardest one probably is disruption, but it is really an important one as well. But I think mine would be curiosity. Sandra?
I struggle with curiosity. And I don't know why, because they call me. My nickname is Inspector Gadget in my family, but but I think um, love is one, but if not love, then disruption, because that goes hand in hand with the learning piece for me. And if I can get the client to break the holding pattern of self-destruction with that disruption of a probing question, and that aha moment when they see it, it's like, ah, like Jacinta said the other day, she's like, oh, I got the tears. I did it. That's how I'm like, yes, I got you to think. Yes, I
Yeah,
got
but
you to
it's not
think.
always easy.
It's not.
No,
It is
I'm with
not.
I'm with Dr. D. The disruption sometimes can be the hardest part.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. But I love it because it's that ownership piece. They're owning
Yeah.
that part. And
Yeah,
once they get to the point where they can own it, then everything else kind of like falls in line for me. That ownership and that love, that disruption and that love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yep, yep, excellent. Mona?
Dr. D, I'm with you. Definitely the disruption is the hard part, and curiosity I lean into more. Probably because I'm nosy too. I want to know everything, literally. And then I often find myself saying, like, if I ask a question, or if I may even lead with, I'm just curious. Da, 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 da. So like it's definitely curiosity. And I think too, a lot of that I kind of got that from one of my supervisors too. So as we're being supervised and we're under a certain direction, you kind of take certain things, certain styles. And I think that's also been like she definitely had an effect on on that. But yeah, definitely curiosity, because I'm a very curious person, and I'm also encourage clients to get curious about themselves.
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
curiosity.
you just said a mouthful.
Mhm.
Yeah, love
Yeah,
curiosity.
excellent, excellent. Okay, so Mona, last question. This is a question we ask all of our geeky clinician guests. Even though you're at the very beginning of this clinical career, which will be a very long career, what are your best hopes for our field? What are your best hopes for the future of clinicians, for clinical work, for this area that is mental health. What are your best hopes? What do you see for the future of our profession?
Ooh, that is such a layered question. Okay, I'm very hopeful. I'll start with that. I'm very hopeful. Although I do see a lot of things that need fixing and holes need to be filled and things within the arena. But I was thinking about this the other day, actually, like the future of clinicians and just our organizations and things like that. And of course, I'm with Yoga Alliance as well. I would love for Yoga Alliance and like the organization for clinicians to like get together and like do something. That would like be amazing. That's kind of like something in my brain that I'm like, I would love to see that. I don't know if it will happen. But yeah, I would love to see that. My greatest hope is to also have more therapists who are coming into the field to be holistic therapists. That just being like that's just a thing. It's just like what it is. I would love that. That is a hope of mine, and I'm seeing it. I actually had a conversation with another clinician recently. She's currently getting her PhD, and she's very much in the holistic portion of things. So I'm meeting a lot of clinicians who are in that realm. But my hope is like learning those things also while in school too, to just best prepare, and be, very effective and just have more tools to assist with our clients. Really, it's not really about us, obviously, right? It's really about the client. Like, so just gaining certain tools and knowledge within ourselves to be able to be the best that we could be. I could go on more, but I will stop there.
Excellent, excellent. And so Mona is accepting new clients, and she can, people who want to work with her can go to our website, which is the number 3, letter D, psychotherapy.com, and can schedule with her directly from our website, and can get on her calendar and have the benefit of working with her and her infusing somatic techniques and working with clients to help you achieve the goals that you want to achieve. Excellent. Thank you guys so much. Thank you all for your time, and have a great day.
Yay.